Hey, y'all. I'm sorry it's unannounced and I actually just lost track of time. There's no one here yet. I'm sure somebody will pop in. Hey, Laurel. Hey, just was saying, I totally forgot it was Sunday. I was sitting here surfing Facebook and then realized, wait a minute, college football games were last night. That means today's Sunday. I'm supposed to go live and looked at the clock and I was like, oh, it's like 7:45. Yeah, I was too busy because Bama got selected for the college football playoffs. And there's a lot of controversy around it. Of course, there always is when it has to do with Bama getting in to do anything, because everybody thinks that the whole college football administrative whatever is biased towards Alabama. When it's not, we just were one of the four best teams, and we earned the right to be one of the four best teams by beating the number one team in the country yesterday. You know, and now everybody wants to get mad because, Alabama got put in as one of the four best teams ahead of an undefeated team that won their conference championship. And they feel like they have the right to go in there, but they're a shitty team. And they haven't really played anybody that great. And their on field performance doesn't warrant them being one of the best four teams. No, not yet, Dreamer. I'm still waiting for the DP I ordered to come in. It was supposed to be here Friday. And I waited, never showed up, and the status of it never updated in UPS. It made it to Memphis on the 30th, and it's been there since. So yesterday, um, Paul was here, and Friday night or Friday, he had me start doing a search for tickets for the Alabama game in Atlanta for the SEC championship game, and I was looking for those and got up early yesterday morning to try to locate some tickets, or if not, maybe we were going to just drive to Atlanta and buy some tickets from a street seller. Was kind of the plan. So I checked, and it still showed that it was in Memphis, and it said delivery date was supposed to be Friday, and it was already Saturday. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be here Monday. I don't know. Let me check it real quick here. Here on, I got my phone right here. I'm just happy because this has been a mm, when if you're a sports fan or watch sports at all, and your team, everybody in the world says that your team can't do something, that your team's not going to be good enough. And sometimes you start to question it yourself because they haven't had the best season that they've ever had. And they do what everybody said they couldn't do. That's kind of what happened Saturday. And I was over the moon. And then, of course, that opened up the talk of, well, they were eighth when they beat the number one team, but a team outside of the top six has never advanced high enough to get into the top four in history. So everybody's like, oh, they beat the number one team, but they're an eighth and they're not going to advance high enough. It's never been done before. And there's too many undefeated teams and this, that, and the other. It doesn't even have an estimated delivery day on it anymore. It just says the delivery date will be provided as soon as possible, on the way. And the last update was on the 30th, arrived at facility in Memphis, Tennessee. So if I don't have it tomorrow, I'm calling UPS and filing a claim on that. So yeah, everybody said that, it's time for the top four selection. And if you know anything about college football, the playoffs are done by selection. And the weekly rankings are done by coaches' polls, and the AP does a poll. And that's how the teams are ranked. It doesn't really have much to do with your record, like your one-loss record. It has to do with how well you played the last game you played and how high ranked the last team was, or how tough the last team was according to the strength of schedule scale. All that, there's a lot of stuff that plays into it. And so that's how that's decided as far as your ranking. And at the end, you got four teams available for the playoffs. It's last year for the four teams. And next year it goes to 12. But two of the Power 5 conferences had an undefeated season, and Florida State had an undefeated season, which last night was their final game. And they were horrible because they're down to their third string quarterback, and they were struggling against a team that I think an elementary school team could beat. And it was just really, really bad. But they won their game barely, and they stayed undefeated, and they're a Power 5 conference team too, the weakest conference in college football, but a Power 5 conference team anyway. Alabama had one loss against Texas early in the season when Alabama wasn't really, they didn't have an identity yet as a team, and they were kind of vulnerable. Texas had one loss against Oklahoma, but they won their conference championship yesterday really convincingly. They blew out Oklahoma State. And then it came down to Georgia and Alabama for the SEC championship. And Georgia has not lost a game since 2021 when they beat Alabama for the national championship. So, you had to unseat the king, and we did it. Alabama won it last night. And so now you got 3 one-loss teams that are at the top, in the top whatever. And then the question is, today was the selection for the 4-team playoff. So let's just say the undefeated Florida State ACC conference champions got left out, and Texas and Alabama made the Final Four against 2 undefeated conference champions in Washington and Michigan. And that's the 4-team playoff that goes for the national championship. And of course, everybody and their brother is talking about how Florida State got hosed, Florida State got screwed, they deserve to be there, everything's rigged toward Alabama. Oh, it's ridiculous. And you can't make these people see reason that Florida State was not one of the best 4 teams. Your season record, your one-loss record, doesn't necessarily mean you're one of the best teams, because who did you play to get that record? How well did you play? Would you be capable of competing at the level of the other teams that are eligible for the playoffs? If not, then you're not one of the four best teams. Plain and simple. And they are not, at this point, capable of competing with the other teams that are eligible for the playoffs. So they got not chosen. And nobody seems to understand that logic. They all think, because it's never happened before. An undefeated Power 5 team has never been left out of the playoffs. Well, it's the first time for everything. And I'm glad Alabama caused it. Hello, Diane. Oh, thank you, Dreamer. I just now seen that. Thank you. I had Hank in the way, and I've been sitting here just kind of, I'm tired. Paul's been here all weekend. And like I said, I've been sitting here just vegetating and scrolling all of the college football groups on Facebook and trolling people, talking smack, the whole works. Calling people dumbasses for the things they say, that kind of thing. Because, yes, I am one of those sports fans. But if you say something stupid that doesn't make sense, I'm going to call you a dumbass. And I'm going to tell you why you are one. I just got hit up by an old friend. Scared me to death. She sent me a. Last time I had sent anything to her was probably back in June, and it was when I was trying to spin one of those wheels or something on Temu, and it keeps getting you try to send out these invitations to everybody and your brother and whatever. So I sent one out to her, and she had never even seen it. So tonight I'm sitting here just before I went live. Actually, I'm sitting here and I get a message from her. She says, what? And I'm like, that was sent months ago. And she says, it says it was from yesterday in my messages. And I'm like, last message I see that I sent was like a Temu ad in June. And she goes, well, shit. And I'm like, why? And I sent her a screenshot of what I was seeing on my screen. She says, damn, LOL. I said, did something else get sent? And she said, no, just goes to show I'm listening. I hate when somebody makes me think that I've gotten hacked. Oh, Lord. YouTube. You. Wait. New channel. Okay. Yeah, I think she was just joking around with me, Dreamer. She was trying to mess with my head a little bit. You'd have to know this girl. She was somebody I knew from back in Maryland. Very good friend of mine now. We'd actually dated years ago, and we're still friends. Damn, it's hard to believe. That was 20 years ago we dated. Damn. Hi, Hank. No, 13 years ago. I take it back. 13 years ago. I was doing my math wrong. We dated in like 2010. You know what's really funny is I'm actually still friends with all of my exes. on Facebook. Even the ones I dated in high school. And it's just periodically, we'll just message each other because we just want to check in. And I'll have some that check on me every now and then. It's like, hey, how you doing? So yeah, other than that, it has not been. It's been a week. Closed out the month of November. Started December. I started up in December on Friday. So I got a bunch of stops done. I have got to, when I get off of here, I've got to go through my work phone and go through my schedule and find some stops to add on for tomorrow and Tuesday, so that I'm scheduled 3 days out. Because I don't have my Monday and Tuesday fully scheduled out yet. Wednesday pretty much already is. So I'm good once I get Tuesday filled, but I'm sure I've got some that are just outside only that I don't need to set an appointment for. I can just put them there and add a time to it and go by there. So we shall see. The the position swap over to the new position at work that I'm going to take is on hold a little while longer. One of our techs just before Thanksgiving went out with medical problems, and he's still not back. And so, well, we've already got the new guy that was supposed to take over my old route. Well, now he's going to be reassigned to take over another tech's route because that other tech has now put his 2 weeks in. He's, moving up bigger and better. He's got a much better job, much better pay, and can't fault the man for trying to do better for himself. So the new tech they hired to take my position that was going to fill my route is now going to take over that route, and they've got to hire somebody else and get them trained, and then that person can take over my route. So it'll probably be like February before I get to switch over and do the other job. So that's not a big deal, though. I'll keep making money till then. You know what, Dreamer? It's a job. I do it. I'm good at what I do. There's parts of it that I don't enjoy. My least favorite thing, and the thing that I'm horrible at, is my scheduling. Having to call all my customers myself, having to, schedule them and try to organize a schedule and keep track of it and all of that in my head while I'm working on it. And it becomes overwhelming. And a lot of times it gets so overwhelming that I just stop and put my phone down and go, I just can't do this right now. The joys of having ADHD. But I'm good at my job, at what I do. And my customers love me. I have quite a few that have made the request that I only ever be the one to do their service. I enjoy going out and seeing my customers, the ones that I see on a regular basis. They're all good people for the most part. But yeah, I mean, overall, yes. And the money is amazing. This past half month, because we get paid on bi-monthly basis, the 15th and the last day of every month. And the paycheck that I earned between the 15th of December and the 30th, November, from November 15th to November 30th, that paycheck, I have not seen the figure yet because I haven't gotten the email yet that the check is ready for my approval, which I'll get that later this week. But I can guarantee you it is going to be a nice, healthy paycheck. Probably one of the biggest I've ever gotten in my life from anywhere. So, yeah, I like the money. Money makes me happy. They say money can't buy you happiness, but I tell you what, if I had a lot of money, I could buy a lot of things to make myself happy. Hey, Diamond Queen. Long time no see. Y'all, I have been so lazy today that I ain't even put my teeth in. Hi, Hank. Arya just came out of heat. She's been in heat all week. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Today is the first day she hasn't been. So she's resting up. Excuse me. Hey, your butt hairs are getting in my diamond painting. You don't care, do you? You're just going to sit here and stare at me and purr. I work at Amazon. If I wasn't dealing with an injury, I'd be making 600 to 800 a week because of peak season, but I'm injured and I can't work more than 40 hours a week. Wow. I'm sorry. 600 to 800 a week isn't bad. I was making just a little more than that when I was doing Uber here, especially during football season, and we had home games. Uh, Typical home game weekend for me with Uber was, I don't know, I'm going to say $1,200 to $1,300 a weekend, just driving Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The best I had was a $1,500 weekend, and I know Paul has had twice that at least in one weekend. But he does XL and Comfort, which are more expensive rides. So he made a little bit more, but twice as much as me. But yeah, I was making decent money on Uber, and him and I are talking about getting me back on Uber again, at least part time now, and that would be kind of cool to have a little extra funds coming in, but just means less free time for me. But you know what, money. My Thanksgiving was okay. Didn't really do much. Just spent 4 days playing Call of Duty. Had it the Call of Duty had a double XP weekend, so I started Wednesday night and I played nonstop until sometimes Friday morning. I went and laid down at like 3 o'clock Friday morning and got about 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, and then got back up, got woke up for a little bit, got back on the game, and played until from Friday morning until sometime early Sunday morning. And then went to bed for another 2 or 3 hours and got up and played the game most of the afternoon, and then got live last weekend. A guy hit you with a metal cart and injured your lower back. Well, damn! Did you punch his lights out? Please tell me you punched his lights out. I like to hear. I like hearing about work time drama like that where people punch their lights out. I want to hear it. Inquiring minds must know. I thought I could work for what? thought I could work for Hover. He couldn't really speak English, so I said everything was okay, then told the manager and got help immediately. Sounds like he did the right thing. Because if you had punched his lights out, you probably wouldn't have a job anymore at all. But it'd been worth it. And as long as you were injured on company time, they have to cover it and they can't fire you until after you come back to work. So you can still punch his lights out and get away with it. What, Hank? What? You're what? Why? Why do you what? What do you want? Hank. Hank. What do you want? What do you want, buddy? Huh? And y'all, we got two members of our community um, who are one of them lost her mom last week, and the other one's mom is or grandmother is not in very good shape. So um, keep them all in your thoughts, prayers, whatever it is you do, as they're going through some hard times, y'all. I go see the workers' comp doctor again in 2 weeks, and I'm supposed to start physical therapy. All right, I remember physical therapy. I used to love the TENS unit. Oh, I could sit there and relax with that thing on all day long. They put that hot towel over it. I had a shoulder injury, and when I went in from a physical therapy, the first thing you do is laid me there on the table with a TENS unit on my shoulder, and put a hot towel over it. And I was like, oh, I could lay here all day just like this. But then I had to get up and start doing like resistance band workouts and stuff to get my range of motion back in my shoulder. And I was like, oh, this hurts. This sucks. There's my glasses. I have not played Call of Duty almost all week. Wow. Yeah, since last weekend, I haven't played. I didn't get to play it all this past week. It's just been really, really busy at work. By the time I get home, it's like I'm tired. Yeah, it is sad, Dreamer. I'm protecting their privacy because I don't know if they want me to mention their names or anything. So, but just keep them in your thoughts. It's always tough losing a parent. I know what it's like. I've been through it. I lost both of mine. My dad, well, it's actually my grandfather. My grandparents adopted me. I'm sure I've told this story. But I lost my dad, my grandfather, dad, at when I was 8. He passed away from lung cancer, and it was just me and my mom or grandmother growing up. And then she passed away in 2018. August 28th, August 22nd. No, something like that. Yeah, August 22nd was exactly 2 months before her 90th birthday. So it's always tough losing a parent, and especially when that person's been around that long. You kind of gotten used to them being here. And you don't want to lose them. You know it's going to happen one day, and But it really, really sucks when it's this close to the holidays. And instead of having a happy and joyful holiday every year from there on out, you're thinking about that person. And it sucks. You lost your dad 2 years ago, and your mom's still alive, but has been pretty sick and is getting better. Well, that's good. She's getting better. And I tell you what I could do. Let me go find it real quick on Facebook. I'm gonna post a link, and this is just if y'all ever feel like it or whatever. Um, my cousin that I grew up with, she's kind of almost like a sister. That's how close my two cousins and I were growing up. Um, her husband's son, her stepson, I guess you want to call it, um, passed away on November 25th. And the funeral home wants all of the expenses up front before they will do anything. And so she put together a GoFundMe. So if anybody is able to, or just a few bucks here and there, every little bit would help. I don't necessarily remember ever having met him. My cousin is married to a really cool guy who's, much older. Um, so he has, you know, older kids from a previous marriage. And one of them passed away. Hank, really? Why are you now all of a sudden so clingy? You haven't been like this all day. Huh? Hmm? Why are you so clingy, bud? What? What? You're gonna just rub your face on my hat repeatedly. Is that all we're doing? Hmm? Hmm? You know what? If we go to the national championship this year, which I think we will because Alabama is the best, well, Alabama is the only team that I'm worried about in the national championship hunt this now is Texas because they beat us earlier this year. But that's when Alabama was not the team they are now. They've gotten a lot better through the year. So we're going to have to face Texas, I think, to get the national championship, which is that's we've been telling everybody all season long. Everybody says, yeah, well, Texas beat you in game 2 in week 2. Well, guess what? We're not the same Alabama team that we were in week 2. We got our shit together and we're good. And if we played the game now, they wouldn't have beat us. And we've been saying that all season, and now we get our chance. But this time the stakes are high. The national championship will be on the line. When we do, we'll get a rematch, and we'll get to prove the naysayers wrong. Just like Alabama's little team motto this year is LANK, LANK, means let all naysayers know. And everybody been naysaying them all year long because of our shaky start we had to the season. They all think that we're still that team, and Alabama is not that team. UGA just got their ass kicked last night by Alabama. no longer number one, 29 game losing streak lost, will not defend their back to back national championships this year. So no three-peat for Georgia. Thank you, Jesus. And roll tide. We did what they said could not be done last night. Everybody doubted us. Everybody said, no, 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 Alabama can't beat Georgia. They're not a good enough team. We only won by 3, but that doesn't really tell the whole story. We pretty much dominated that whole game, gave up a touchdown there late at the end, and they brought it to within 3. But we pretty much held them all day, all night long. We controlled everything until the very end there. So that 3-point win doesn't really tell the whole story of how that game went. It's because Georgia hasn't played anybody. They had a cupcake schedule this year. Alabama's played and beat 4 ranked teams. Our strength of schedule was higher than Georgia. I mean, pretty much all the metrics, we had a better season than them, except for we lost early and they hadn't. But in most of the metrics, Alabama was ahead. Georgia did have a better offense than Alabama did, but we got Jalen Milroe. That kid is just phenomenal. He's for his first year as a starting quarterback to do what he's done, and next year he's going to even be better. He'll probably get the Heisman next year. He's a redshirt sophomore, and he's graduating December 17th with a degree in business administration and entrepreneurship. Where is it? Okay. What color am I working on? Z's. Okay. So what y'all got planned for Christmas? I will be here. I'll be right here at this desk. I've got a 4-day weekend for Christmas and a 3-day weekend the next weekend after. Because we get our paid holidays is Christmas and the day after. So Christmas is on a Monday this year, so I get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off, and then go back to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No, I get Thursday. I get Friday, Saturday. No, I get Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I go back to work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we're off Saturday, Sunday, Monday for New Year's, because Monday is New Year's Day. And then we go back to work on the 2nd, the Tuesday. And then it's back to the grind until February. I don't know if we get President's Day or not. I don't remember. I think there's a holiday in February we get off. What I would like to have done, because I've only got 130 stops on my schedule this month. Um, what I would like to have done would be get them all done before Christmas, which is doable. Um, but yeah, get them all done before Christmas, and then see if I can just take 3 days of PTO for those 3 days in between Christmas and New Year, and that way I can just have a 10-day vacation. Because I've got a lot of PTO built up from this year that if I don't use it, I lose it. But also, if I was to quit, I don't get paid for the PTO that I didn't use. So it's kind of just like it's there if I need it type PTO. It's not like that I'm missing out on anything by not using it except for days off, you know? But I thought I remembered them saying something about you can carry over like 1 year's worth or something. I don't remember. It's been a while since I sat through training. It's hard to believe I've actually been with this company now since February. Almost going almost close to a year now. Doesn't even feel like it. Hey, Nana. But yeah, Christmas, I will be right here. And we're doing our Christmas premieres again this year. I know Dreamers did a video, and I know Nana's doing one, and I'm doing one. And so if anybody else is at home alone on Christmas and you want some company, or you just want to pop in and tell everybody Merry Christmas, we'll have a playlist. As the time gets closer, I will share that playlist in my community channel, my community tab. So that way y'all can find it and join us. But it will be Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day, or the day after Christmas. Around the clock, there'll be premieres going. And any of y'all have not taken part in this or seen it or hung out with us, it's a lot of fun. Everybody does a 1 hour video and it uploads it as a premiere, and it's you get to hang out in the live chat while you watch each person's video. And there's a playlist, so all you got to do is click the first video at the right time and sit there and be waiting for it to start. And as soon as it ends, the playlist will take you right to the next one. We always have a lot of fun with it. Hank, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you getting into stuff? No, don't you dare step on here. I just got it all cleaned off. Do you think they give it to you? What if I was to ask for it? I don't know, being this late in the year or being this late in the month already. I'm not sure how far in advance I'm supposed to ask for PTO days, but I'm sure if sit down one of these evenings or one of the like next weekend or whatever, and I was to sit down and actually get all of it scheduled so that I can show them everything I have for this month is scheduled. Can I just take those days as PTO? I'm pretty sure the boss would probably say yes, but we have extenuating circumstances with the one guy that's still out with medical issues. And so, like, this past week, I was pretty much done with my route. I only had like a couple each day from my route and then nothing else scheduled. So they put a lot of his stops on me to help get his route done too. So, right now they're going to need anybody who finishes their route early to help with routes that need attention. So, I don't know if he might allow me if I really said I really wanted to, but he'd be kind of disappointed that I didn't stick around and try to help out the other guys are out. And I don't blame him for it. I mean, because us finishing our routes actually reflects on him. He's the one that gets in trouble if we don't. And then, of course, the shit rolls downhill, as they say. So, you know, I actually like my boss. He's a nice guy. I like both of them. My service manager, Ray, is cool. He's cool as hell. Um, but the main boss he's a really great guy, and he has the hugest heart in the world. He really does. Um, he can be a bit strict at times, but I get it. However, he has basically led us from the bottom of the barrel office in the entire company to where the head executives are taking notice of us and the job we're doing and how good we are at it and how much improvement we've made in the last year. You can go into our work and see the improvement we've made. We have built a culture in our office that I you know I actually look forward to going to the office in the mornings because of the culture we built there and the people we have in place. It's an amazing thing. And he kind of oversaw all of that and put it in motion. And I wish there was people around here on here that was listening, other than Ray. And Ray, if you're here, hi. um, but I wish there was other people from around here that are listening because we have an open position that we need to fill, and I would love to refer somebody. But I don't think anybody from Tuscaloosa watches my channel. I'd be really surprised if they were. She got her CM order. Yeah, what is a CM order? The whole world wants to know now. What is a CM order? Hank, where are you hiding my? Stand up. Stand up. There you are. You're hiding my tweezers. Yeah, Nana, I don't know that you'd be able to do pest control because it's for a pest control check. Not unless you can put a 4-gallon backpack sprayer on your back and walk around the house and, you know, all that cool, wonderful stuff. There's a lot of driving involved too. Um, Wednesday was no Thursday was the last day of the month, I think. Yeah, Thursday was. Thursday I did 3.5 hours of windshield time because I had stops all over the place. Like I had one stop was in my normal operating area, which is like right south of Tuscaloosa on Highway 69. And then I had to go from there up to Northport for a stop. And then I had to drive from there all the way back out to the east side of town and then back over to Highway 69 for 2 stops. And then I had to drive all the way to Livingston, Alabama, which is an hour and 8 minutes, hour and 10 minutes roughly, um, to just do an outside only, which is just put the sprayer on your back and spray a barrier around the house. It's like 10 minutes. I had to drive an hour and 10 minutes for 10 minutes worth of work and then drive an hour and 10 minutes all the way back. Well, I had to come back to town first because the way to get there. So I'd drive all the way back to town and then drive a half hour, about 20 minutes south, maybe a half hour south to Moundville, do a stop. Then I had to come back into town at 4:30 and do my last stop. We got a new onesie today. It's Snoopy Christmas. Ooh, a Snoopy Christmas onesie. I really do wish that diamond painting would get here that I ordered. It's really annoying me. It shipped on the 25th. Well, the label was printed on the 25th in California. It shipped out on the 26th, and it arrived in Memphis on the 30th. And then the status has never updated since. And it was supposed to be here Friday. According to the tracking, it said scheduled delivery Saturday the 2nd. Or no, Friday the 2nd. I think it was Friday was the 2nd, yeah. But yeah, it was supposed to be here Friday. And I waited and waited and waited. And I got home from work because UPS never comes to our neighborhood anyway until like 8 o'clock at night anyhow. So I waited and waited. It never showed up. And so I figured, okay, it'll be here Saturday. Of course, Paul and I were talking about going to the game in Atlanta, but we decided it just wasn't worth it. If we weren't guaranteed to find somebody selling tickets for cheap, we weren't going to go. So it wasn't worth the grand gamble to drive 3 hours to Atlanta to not be able to get in. So yeah, I waited here all day yesterday watching the games, and UPS never came by with my package. So I cannot record my premiere until that gets here. And I actually was going to do 2 videos, one unboxing and first impressions to upload now, and then record my Christmas premiere working on that. So, yep. Actually, no, Dreamer, but it'll be here. I mean, it's like Ashley told me. Well, I don't know if you were in the group yet at that point, but um, Ashley told me. I told her, I said, I still need to order a diamond painting for Christmas because I don't have anything Christmas to do, and so I have to get one. But from finances and the way they work out and everything, and I only get paid twice a month. Um, I may be a little bit late uploading, and she was just like, she said, I know you're gonna get your video put up. She goes, don't worry about it if you're later than 15th. I'm like, okay. It'll be here soon. I mean, it's not like it's never gonna get here. It's just that it's delayed in Memphis with no updates, and I hate that. I'm a tracking. I am like a hawk. When I've got a package company coming, I am checking my tracking probably every 3 hours. Like, where is it now? Where is it now? Where is it now? And with UPS, you can upgrade it, and it gives you a follow my delivery on the day that it's out for delivery, and you can see where the truck is. And I actually had to use that to my advantage one time. UPS had come to my neighbor, had come to my house, and I saw them go by, and they never stopped. And they never showed up. They never showed up yet, and it was still showing up on my delivery or on my follow my delivery. So I got in the car and found the UPS truck and said, "Hey, you already went through my neighborhood, and you forgot to drop package off to me." He's like, "Really? Where'd you live?" And I told him. I showed him my ID. I showed him the tracking number on the phone. He was like, "Oh, let me check." And sure enough, he had it in the back. He said, "Here you go." Hand it to me, and I went home. Thanks, Diamond Queen. I'll let you know. Like I said, I'm not too worried that mine won't be here in the next one day this coming week, maybe even Monday, Tuesday. I don't know. But I am so anxious to get my hands on this one because I've heard so much about them, and I'm looking forward so much to seeing this one in person and working on it. Oh, it, it's surprise now. I'm trying not to release the details publicly until I get it and upload the video, but I'll tell you privately. Yeah, yeah, it's yep, yeah. I want a Christmas theme because it's going to be done in my Christmas premiere. I every year for my Christmas premiere, I work on a Christmas diamond painting. Um, Amber and I did the giant diamond dots nativity scene one. I've got Starry Night Santa, and then I've got the one that I did last Christmas during my live, the cartoon Santa. And that was a really nice one. Actually, I like that one. And this year I got another Christmas one coming from a new company that I haven't tried yet, and I've heard so much about, and I can't wait to try them. And I told them that I was kind of impressed with what I had seen so far, and that I would definitely showcase them on my channel. And so they're looking forward to me getting it unboxed and put up on the channel. You have the gnomes Christmas DAC or I have not checked. I have no clue what DAC has anymore. I have not checked in on DAC in ages. I figure if I don't have the money to spend on DAC, I might as well not even look. But 99.9% of the time, DAC doesn't have anything that appeals to me. Come on, diamond painting companies, put stuff that appeals to men too. We do diamond paint. Or let me reiterate that. Please do stuff that appeals to, you know, masculine men or straight men or whatever. You know, we don't want to do flowers and big-headed brat style girls all the time. You know, we want to do stuff like cars and sports and stuff like that. Manly men stuff. I know diamond painting isn't a manly man hobby, but you know what though? I have not caught much flack from guys that I know. I was really surprised because for a while there, I was afraid to admit to guys that, you know, I diamond paint. And they're like, what is that? I'm like, I tell them, and they're like, they're actually kind of interested. It's kind of weird because I wouldn't expect them to be. But there ain't a whole lot of men that know that I cross stitch too. So I do have a Christmas cross stitch, but I don't have the fabric or the thread for it. So 3 new JoJo's art paintings. Let me go to look. JoJo's art. Let me go. Diamond Art Club. Wow, this is the first for a while. New arrivals, huh? Finding myself. I'm not a lot into clothing or into tigers. Too much, anyway. The last DAC I bought was the Hannah Lynn Space Explorer. Hank. Now the tribal tattoo dragon is pretty cool. Load more. Divine Within. That's kind of looks like Pokemon Eevee. Sea Breeze Path. I already have that one. Chuck Pinson. Now, Dark Treasures. If it was a cat that looked like Hank, I probably would do it. But it doesn't look like Hank or Arya, so. Now, Lean on Me looks cute. That does kind of look like Hank and Arya. Yeah, I'm just not seeing much. It's just like, I don't know. Then again, the one that I got, the Christmas one I got coming, isn't one that you would expect uh, a guy to like anyway. But I love the artwork. It's just a beautiful, it's amazing artwork. Now, Remember is kind of nice. That one I like. The JoJo's art. Man, it's been a while. There's a lot of stuff that I've never seen. Um, oh, the dinosaur battle is cool, but yeah, this is not something I would hang on my wall. It would just, I would do it, and it would just stay in the closet rolled up. So there's no point in trying to do it, you know. Oh, the Christmas gifts is cute. The three cats in the box. Oh, that's cute. I like that one. Diamond Queen, you were talking about the gnome tree lights. Is that the one you were talking about? Oh, yeah, it kind of does, Diamond Queen. The remember, yeah, it kind of does. It's like a grown-up Simba looking to the heavens for his father's guidance. I could see that. Um, hey, Don Marie, roll tide. Haven't talked to you since then. You know, 431 goes through Auburn. In case y'all don't know, she's an Auburn fan, and Alabama Auburn is probably the biggest rivalry in college football. Um, and it's always, well, I'm not going to say always. Anytime we play in Auburn, which is every other year, it's always some weird stuff going on. I swear that stadium is built on Indian burial ground or something. Because it does not matter what the team records are. Auburn could be 0-10, and we could be undefeated, and we go into that stadium and play them the Iron Bowl every year, and it's going to be a close game. Like, that was crazy this year. I've never seen anything like that. I actually lost my voice during that game. Well, afterwards anyway. Um, I scared the cats into the bedroom. I was yelling at the TV so loud. Normally cussing at our guys for screwing up and whatever. And I was so loud at the end that the neighbors upstairs actually came down and knocked on the door to check on me and ask if I was okay. I love you too, Don Marie. Yeah, that was some game. I'll give it. That's going to go down in the history books. But at least now we don't have to watch the kick six before every Iron Bowl 20 times. Yeah, see, Georgia saw that, what y'all did, and they started trying to do the same thing y'all did last night, but we was ready for them. I was actually kind of surprised how relatively easy we beat Georgia. I think they were a little bit overrated, and everybody thought they were better than what they were because they had been undefeated against a relatively easy schedule. You must be talking about the kick six, Diamond Queen. That was 10 years ago when the game had run out and or the time had run out and we were tied, I thought, weren't we? I don't remember. The time had run out anyway, and we would have had time to kick one field goal to win it. And the refs ended up putting a second back on the clock, and the field goal fell short. And the Auburn guy picked it up and ran it back all the way for a touchdown. That's just one of those crazy things that happens in that stadium when we played there. It's just the place is haunted, cursed. I don't know. It's built on Indian burial ground or something. It's got to be. Yeah, yeah. And that's not going to be the last time that kind of stuff happens. It happens like what was it 2 years ago? It was so close that Bryce Young was kneeling on the sideline praying before the last play. And that was the four overtime game. Yeah, the last time we played there, it went into four overtimes. I went to last year's Iron Bowl because they played it here, and last minute, Paul called me up while he was out doing Uber, and he says, "Hey Dave, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Getting ready to watch the game." The flyover had just happened because they go over right over my house when the flyover happens, and I said, "Get ready to watch the game." He says, "No, you're not." He said, "Get yourself ready." He said, "We're going." I'm like, "What?" Buddy his had season tickets, and or his buddy of his parents had season tickets, and they couldn't go, and so he had four tickets that to use, and he invited Paul and I. But you know what? You know what? I see Auburn kind of resurrecting a bit with Hugh Freeze there. Give him time to get in there and get his thing set up the way he wants it, and Auburn is going to be a contender again soon. They're already playing a little better than they had been under Harsin. So Harsin and his Boise State cheerleader turned personal assistant that he's not sleeping with at all. There's no affair going on there at all. No, none. Where did Brian Harsin go anyway after Auburn fired him? And then he took his little cheerleader girl with him. Hank. Hank. Hey. No, you're not going to sit down right there. Get your little butt hairs off my stuff. There, that's a good spot for you right there. I'm telling you, what is up with you, buddy? Huh? Why are we being so clingy? Oh, I don't want to go back to work tomorrow. I'm not ready to go back to work. I'm enjoying my free time. It's been a great weekend. I don't want it to end. Oh no, I've been off since Wednesday. It's never good when you're off of work. It's like, when you're off of work because you're injured, that sucks because you can't really do anything while you're off. Unless you're doing like what I'm doing, I just sit and play video games, and watch TV, and troll college football forums and talk a lot of smack on or troll college football groups on Facebook and just talk a lot of crap to everybody. That's about it. Man, FSU fans today, it's just really, y'all did not earn your way into a spot. You are not a good team, even though your record was 13-0. You are not a good team. Not one of the four best. You don't get paid. Wait a minute. You got hurt at work and you're off work because of it, but you don't get paid for it? Isn't that kind of illegal? Workman's comp has to pay you if you're off work due to an injury that you received at work. Also, something else, I don't know if they offer it there. I'm pretty sure they probably do, though. It's a big enough company. Um, if you have the chance, if you get benefits, check into the accident insurance. It's kind of like Aflac, their form of whatever Aflac is. You can make so much money off of that. When I hurt my shoulder, I had I had actual Aflac as part of my benefits, and when I hurt my shoulder, every time I went to the doctors, I sent Aflac a copy of that um, doctor's report, and they sent me back. I think it was 25. No, at that point in time, I think it was like $75. They sent me a $75 check every time I had a uh, a special you know, like I had an MRI done on my shoulder. They sent me like, I think it was like $1,200 for having the MRI done. That's what Aflac is. I mean, it was awesome. I was making more money while I was off work for my shoulder and going to doctors and physical therapy and everything else than I would have made going to work. Now they do have like a yearly maximum that they'll pay out, but I wasn't off work long enough to reach that and didn't go to enough things. But yeah, during that time I was off work, I actually made more money off the Aflac than I would have just going to work and getting paid for it. And even if you don't get it through your work as a, I mean, most benefits packages do have like it's an optional accident insurance. That's what most of them call it. And some of them have an accidental death and dismemberment. But yeah, a lot of those. I mean, and those will pay. Those will pay you if, say, you're walking down the street and you slip on some ice and break your leg. If it puts you out of work, they'll pay for all. They'll pay you an X amount of dollars for each doctor visit, or X amount of dollars for each procedure you have done, or whatever. Yeah, it's really well worth having. I would recommend anybody get it if they don't already have it with their benefits. And it's usually not that much on top of your regular premiums and stuff that come out of your check. It's not that much added on, but it's well worth it if something ever happens and you're out of work. Tried to sue the guy who did it. Wow. I mean, can you legally sue somebody? Did it happen? It happened at work, right? It would happen during the line of duty while you're working, and he happened to run into you with it. Because if that's the case, I don't think you can sue the person personally for something that happened at work unless the accident wasn't work related. Like if you're at work and you go in the bathroom and somebody comes in there and you know beats you up, then yeah, you can sue. But if you're working in your regular line of work and it's actually an accident that happens due to him doing something for his job, you can't sue the person personally, and I don't even think you can actually sue the company for that. Yeah, yeah, unless you work for a third party company, yes, then you could. Yep. I mean, now, if you could prove that it was done with an intent to hurt you, there's a difference there. I think you could sue him then because he intended to hurt you on purpose. So it was considered a personal attack. You could probably have him arrested for that. But yeah, something that just happens in a normal line of duty at a job and you happen to get injured and it was somebody else's fault, you can't sue them. Um, you can sue the company for getting injured due to something they didn't do to prevent a safety incident, then you can sue a company for that. But if it was something you did wrong that caused you to get injured, and it's not due to negligence on the company not putting a sign up or whatever, then no, you're just on your own. Because I got hurt when I worked at Black and Decker in Maryland, and it was close to the end of a workday, and I was operating a 1-ton hydraulic press. It was just nothing. It was on the top of a table, and all it did was have a hydraulic ram that just came straight down and poop, 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 like that. But the only way you could make it work was there were two buttons on the top of the table back at the front end of it here. So you actually had to move your hands out of the machine and bring them back to the thing and hit the things. And then the thing came down and it pushed the bearing down into the section. We were making drills at that factory. And the drill plate where the shaft goes from the motor in through the front, there's a plate there, like a magnesium plate. And there's a little round spot where a roller bearing goes right there, and it gets pressed in with a 1-ton hydraulic press. So you put the plate in there on a little jig, and you laid the bearing on top of it in the spot where it goes, and then you pulled your hands back and you hit the buttons on the top of the table back right in front of you on either side of you. It was close to the end of the day, and I was sitting on a stool while I was working, and I had reached in the machine and put the thing in there, and my arms were just kind of tired, and my elbows dropped and landed on the buttons while my finger was in it, and it crushed my middle finger on my right hand, just laid it wide open. And I tried to blame it on the company and say they should not have put the buttons on the top of the table instead of putting them on the front face of the table, to where I actually had to, bring my hands around and whatever. That the fact that they were on the top of the table where my elbows could fall on them, they could accidentally hit them. I was going to try to sue them for that. And they basically said, you can do that, but we've told you not to sit down while you're working. And so sitting led to that problem. So, like, oops, well, I guess I can't sue. But any company, though, if you try to sue the company you work for because of an accident that happened at work, whether they were negligent or not, one, they have more expensive lawyers than you do. And two, they will always find a way to flip it around to find you at fault for what happened. Unfortunately, just the nature of the world we live in now. Kind of sucks. It's not as easy to sue people today as it used to be. Because I guess courts are getting tired of hearing a lot of lawsuits that really have no merit. Because it got to the point at one point where everybody was suing somebody for something, the most minor stuff, and that's when states started passing frivolous lawsuit laws and stuff to keep it from happening, because it was overloading the court system and doing things that were important. Excuse me, Hank. Hey. Really? That's what we're doing now? He done clicked the button on my mouse because he's laying on it. And he done got the little right click menu pulled up on the screen. Hey, fuzzy tail, keep it to yourself. Oh, this is what we're doing now. Okay. Y'all, this is what I deal with. A spoiled cat. He is literally laying there with his eyes shut. Hank, Hank, Hank. What am I going to do with you? Where's Aria? I haven't seen her in a few hours. It's awfully quiet. Oh, and y'all, I haven't told you. I don't know if I told you or not. I opened one of those jars of the cowboy candy that I made a few weeks ago. Oh, that stuff is so good. It's not as hot as fresh jalapenos because the sugar in the because the syrup that you boil them down in before you can the slices of jalapenos. The the syrup that you make has so much sugar in it that it sugar takes away the heat of peppers. And once you can them, once you boil them, then in that, and then can them, and then let it sit for a couple of weeks for it to like permeate into the jalapenos and stuff. It takes the heat not away. I mean, they're still a little spicy, but not bad. But they're so good. I was sitting here with a fork just eating them right out of the jar. He will lay here all night and let me do this if I let him. He just so much. He just too much. He is just the happiest cat. All right, I think I have finished this letter. I've been sitting here all night long. And I have finished that one. Oh, come on. Matter of fact, I need to go after work tomorrow. I need to run to Harbor Freight because I don't have any more Harbor Freight containers to kit up a 65 color painting. So that means I need to go pick up 4 Harbor Freight containers. Hopefully they got them at. We got enough at Harbor Freight. I just thought about that. I don't know that I have any other Harbor Freight containers that are still kitted up from paintings that I finished or not. I look. That's what I do when I get done with my live here in about 25 minutes. I will go digging in the closet. Matter of fact, I gotta go dig in the closet anyway because I gotta pull Starry Night Santa out and hang him up over here. and get my 3 other Christmas decorations out of the closet. Oh, and y'all, I'm going to tell you what, if you go to Walmart and you get some wax melts, apple butter cookies are amazing. Your house will smell so good. Love them. It is one of my new favorite scents, and I'm willing to bet they're not going to have it after fall. Hank, please move your little toes. Thank you. Really? You're going to knock everything off the desk with your tail. Thank you. He looks so fat, but he really isn't. It's all fur. It's all fur. You fluffy. Ow! Hey! That was mean. Why did you do that? Why'd you do that? You're going to knock more stuff over. You're a wrecking ball. You're a little fluffy wrecking ball. You and Aria both. I can't keep nothing on the desk or on the little stand over here or on my computer, my TV stand. It just all ends up in the floor because you and Aria are little wrecking balls. Yeah. What? You're going to knock my camera off next. Then what? Then what? Because you think every place is your spot. Okay, come on. Up we go. No, okay. I'm going to give you away to the highest bidder. How's that sound? I give you away to the highest bidder. He didn't like that idea. What? You were just got to be the center of attention, don't you? Yeah. You just got to be the center of attention everywhere you go. Yeah, you're a good boy. Most of the time, when you're not knocking everything off the desk and the TV stand, and yeah. He's mischievous. He's going through his second kitten stage. And he's starting to establish a lot more dominance over Arya. I think what it is actually Arya has established dominance over Hank when it comes to my bedroom. He will just recently has started going back in there and coming in there at night and sleeping next to me. But up until just recently, he wanted nothing to do with that bedroom. He would go to the door and then sit outside the bedroom door and look at me. Um, he wouldn't go in that door. Him and Arya have had back and forth fights about that bedroom for a while when we first brought her back here. Um, but now it's gotten to the point when Arya comes out of the bedroom, Hank's trying to establish dominance over her out here, and chases her back into the bedroom. Ooh, you're sending them packages, Dreamer. Cool. I need to stop at CVS in the morning too. Remind me, Hank. Remind me I gotta stop at CVS in the morning. Because I just used up the last of my deodorant today and I ain't got none. Yep. You gonna let me know? You gonna let me remember? Don't you let me forget. I don't think he cares. Hi, y'all. This is my cat. Oh, there goes the camera. Nope, 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 nope. Hank, buddy, buddy. Yeah, I know. I see you looking up at me. I know. You don't want to, but we got to get up. Come on. Come on. Come on. Whoa. No, 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 no. Come on. Get up. I know you were comfy and you were happy. Yeah, I know. Here, get in my lap. That's where you really want to be. I know that's what you. No, you don't. Okay. Hi. Oh, it's all good, Domry. Speaking of charging, okay, my work phone is charging now. Okay. I'm gonna say I don't know if I ever plugged my work phone in when I got home from work on Friday. You know, one of my customers has a pecan tree out in their yard, and they went out and picked me up a few pecans and handed them to me. Some of them were like little tiny ones, and they didn't have any kind of nut meat in them at all. They were just kind of like it's like dried up stuff. So that's all I got out of a small bag of pecans. That's all meat I got out of them. So. Oh, cool. Dreamer won a spinner minder. Okay. Get down. I know. I know. I know. I love you too, Hank. I know. You just go lay down. This section is almost done. Hi, Hank. No, we're not doing that. Yeah, cover minder. Cool. I like seeing people win things. And you've done so many giveaways over the years, Linda. It's about time you won something. Hank, no, stop. I don't have very many of this color in here. So I just dumped out the whole container. Sounds about right. Till February. I mean, it's okay to take a break because Lord knows I wouldn't have the money to be able to spend to do that many giveaways. So, oh yeah, yeah. The county got to get their money or the state. Lord knows they don't care if you got it or not, but they expect you to give it to them anyway. That's kind of why I wanted to get out of Maryland because the taxes there are ridiculous for like everything. There was no way in the world I was. Oh, there was no way in the world I was going to buy a house in Maryland Hank, because there's so many dumb taxes on homeowners for the stupidest stuff. When you buy a place in Maryland, you actually have to have your yard. So you pay your regular property taxes every year, or whatever. And then you actually have to have somebody come out to your house in Maryland and they have to measure the square footage of every area that has impervious surfaces like driveways, like concrete driveways and sidewalks leading up to the front door and the footprint of your house, anything like that, any outbuildings like that. They come out and measure how many square feet of that you have on your property, and then there's a certain amount per square foot you have to pay in tax, and they call it a rain tax because that water that hits those areas and runs off can contain harmful chemicals, which then go into the Chesapeake Bay and pollute the bay. So, in order to be able to fund efforts to fight the pollution in the bay and to incentivize people to not have materials that cause runoff in your yard, they basically penalize you for living like a normal person. And then they also have another tax on the farmers in Maryland. on the eastern shore, which is east of the Chesapeake Bay, like the section that's over by Delaware. Um, that whole half over there is all agricultural. A lot of the part where I grew up is mostly like farm fields and growing crops and stuff like that. The farther you get down towards the southern eastern shore and southern Delaware, it's chicken farms. Uh, there's several different major chicken processing companies there, like Mount Air Farms and Purdue, and a lot of the big name chicken companies. Um, and what they do is you invest the money to build a chicken house on your property, which are, I don't know if anybody knows what a chicken house is. Long building, ventilated on the ends, all that kind of stuff. It has to be built a certain way. But you invest the money to build the chicken houses on your property, and the different companies, you contract with a company, they'll send you out hatchlings, and you raise the hatchlings by their standards, of course, feed them what they want and all that kind of thing, what they want you to. And then when the chickens get grown, a truck comes with like a flatbed truck with like a bunch of crate, like these like cage looking things on it. And you run around and gather the chickens up and put them in these cages to go off the processing plant to become, food. And you make pretty good money off that. The problem is those chickens poop a lot on the floor of those chicken houses. So you have to somebody scrape that layer of poop off every so often, and you got to do something with it. And it usually gets piled up in a big like compost type pile on the property. Well, then a lot of these chicken farmers, to make extra money, will sell these piles of chicken poop to crop farmers, who will then put it on the fields to, or most of the time they mix the chicken poop actually gets mixed into the soil when they get the land ready for to plant, to help keep the soil fertile. And especially up there, they grow a lot of corn, and corn will ruin the soil. It will drain the soil of all nutrients. It's actually one of the worst crops you can plant, because the soil is kind of useless for anything else after you plant corn there, until you rejuvenate that soil by adding chicken poop to it, basically, to turn it back into fertile soil. And so they'll sell the chicken poop to farmers. Well, now the state taxes in Maryland the chicken farmers for the amount of chicken poop their chicken farm generates every year, and charge them a certain amount for every ton, I think, or something like that. And that again goes into the whole bay thing. Supposedly, you work the chicken poop into the soil, and when it rains, then it has a lot of nitrogen in the poop, and it gets washed into the bay, which at some point one day it runs off into the bay, and it pollutes the bay with nitrogen that can kill the fish. I don't. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Maryland has got a tax for everything. So in 2016, I wasn't really. The wages in Maryland are ridiculous. The cost of living is really high. If you're not making a ton of money, you can't survive in Maryland. It's just not happening. You're going on public assistance. You're living in low income housing, which is no fun. Especially not in some of the neighborhoods there. And you're just not living a good quality of life. And it's hard to find a job up there. Well, at that point, I don't know what I haven't been back there, or I haven't lived there now since 2016. So I don't know if it's changed a whole lot, but um, a job here, like working in a factory job or factory setting, It's like $8 an hour up there, and that's the max you were going to get. I was a EMT. I was a state licensed EMT, and I was only making $11 an hour. And that's it's a little bit ridiculous that you're not making very much money doing stuff like that. And then everything is skyrocketing in price there. I'm not going to get into politics and tell you why, but let's just say one particular party runs Maryland and always has, and just has their way with whatever they want to do, and they're ruining the state. A buddy of mine called me in 2016, and we were talking, and I said, he said, what's going on? He says, come to North Dakota. Man, it's so much better up here. You get back on your feet. And sure enough, that's what I ended up in North Dakota. Wages up there were ridiculously high compared to what you're doing. I know in Grand Forks, when I was there, McDonald's was starting at like 15 and a half for McDonald's. And cost of living was super low. The same apartment I'm renting here for $8.94 a month, I was renting one the same size up in North Dakota for $5.75 a month. Yep. Well, I'm glad you learned something, Berta. I have actually been watching this YouTube channel, and it is filling my head full of random, useless facts and information that I never knew. And I can't remember the name of the channel now. Hold on. Let me look it up. I want to say the channel name is Joe Scott, but his videos are called Answers with Joe. And he is just so much fun to listen to and watch. A lot of times I'll just put a playlist of his on and put it on while I'm sleeping at night. But he is very informative and teaches you all kinds of neat, cool things that you probably never would have known. And at the same time, he's entertaining and kind of like comedically sarcastic to where it's actually entertaining to watch while you're learning. I mean, I have been watching like way too many college football things, and that's all that my history is showing as far back as I can go. Yeah, the channel is named Joe Scott. The icon is like a little light blue colored circle with a silhouette face in it. And it's just a bunch of videos of just random knowledge facts told in a entertainingly funny and sarcastic way. Some of it is interesting cosmology, I guess you call it. Stuff about the universe and stars and planets and nebulas and that kind of stuff. Yeah, you didn't know that, Berta? Yeah. When you have like these chicken houses that they build up there, I mean, they literally like pack like thousands of chickens in one chicken house. Like, I mean, and it's a long building. It's like a football field, 2 football fields long, and like half a football field wide. So think of how many chickens you could fit in that kind of floor space, and the chickens are just walking around there shoulder to shoulder, I guess, basically, and just bumping into each other. And they got roosts along the side and stuff that they can get up on. But yeah, imagine how much poop that many chickens puts out, and it becomes like a crust that builds up on the floor of the chicken house in there. And you gotta hire a farmhand or do it yourself if you want to. I guess I'd hire a farmhand, and they just go out there and they scrape it up with usually a shovel. Normally, you scrape it after the truck has come and got the chickens to take to the chicken plant, and you got an empty chicken house. You basically scrape it all off then, so that you can get ready for your next load of chickens to come in. The smell is not pleasant if your neighbor raises chickens. Well, there's really no visual to it, Berta. It's just imagine like 10,000 white chickens just kind of strolling around, making noise and eating and pooping. That's what goes on in a chicken house. Oversized white chickens at that. Because before they get sent out to you as hatchlings, they all get injected with steroids, and these chickens grow to like immense proportions. They almost look like small turkeys. It's like, you ever go to a store and you pick up a pack of like boneless, skinless chicken breast? And have you ever asked yourself, like, how in the world do chicken breasts get this big? There you go. Because I swear, I go to the store now and buy a pack of chicken breasts, and it's like they're the size of turkey breasts. And then we wonder why our young people are developing into, you know, like, why do 16-year-old girls all of a sudden look like they're like 25-year-old women? Because the amount of steroids and growth hormone that's being put in every animal we eat. You know, I have asked that for years, Berta. I want to know what was going through the mind of the first person that saw an egg come out of a chicken butt and said, you know what? I think I'm going to cook that up and eat it because it might taste good for breakfast. Was that the first person that discovered weed? Was he high when he figured it out? I don't know. Who was the first person that ran across a plant in the woods and said, I wonder if I smoke this, if I feel funny? I mean, were these like ancient people just walking around and smoking stuff to see what would happen? I mean, it was. Who's the first person that picked up a psychedelic mushroom and put it in their mouth and said, if I eat this, I wonder what happens? Well, I can see that one there. They're out gathering mushrooms. They don't know it's a psychedelic one, and they eat it thinking that it's, I can see that one happening by accident. Or how about the frog, how the frog that you can lick and you get an acid trip from? Who's the first person that licked a frog to find out if you could get high from it? I can see that, Berta. The question that nobody can answer is what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, It depends upon what you believe as far as religion goes. Because if you believe in creation theory, then you believe that a supreme being, God, whatever, created the animals. And so the animal, chicken, came first. And the egg was just the method of reproduction that he provided them. If you're more of the science minded and not religious at all, then you believe that some of the smaller dinosaurs eventually evolved over time into the first birds, which in that case, the chicken came first. Personally, I mix the two because steadfast creationists will say that the earth is only 6,000 years old, but scientific testing and science and actual physical evidence that you can touch, feel, whatever, and test it and everything says different. So you got to go with the evidence where the evidence is, and the evidence says this is what happened. That evolution happened. Evidence says that evolution happened. There's no way to deny it. The Bible says God created it. However, the biblical story of creation and the scientific, what scientists say happened from the Big Bang until people walked on the earth, matches the biblical story exactly in the same order and everything. The only difference is the scientific method takes billions of years for it to go and happen from the Big Bang until people walk the earth. Whereas the Bible says that, the earth is only 6,000 years old and God did it all instantly by snapping his fingers. I mix the two together because there's so much crossover stuff there that I do believe the people that wrote the early Bible and wrote the creation story had an understanding of either maybe they were prophets of God and God showed them this is how I did it. But the language at the time was so primitive that they didn't really have the words for all of it. And so they wrote it the best way they could to gather the point, or they just did it in an artistic way for the time and wrote it the way they did about creation, on the first day, second day, third day, whatever. Days being periods of time, doesn't have to be 24 hours, be millions of years. But I honestly believe that those people actually were able to see it or were shown it in some way, and they documented what they saw. I I don't know. I can't come up with any other answers. And the way I see it, the science justifies my faith, and my faith justifies the science. And that way, science is always saying, well, there's no room for religion because that requires you to accept things that you can't test and see and have proof of. And I don't think that's right either. I don't know. It's weird. I have a weird look on things. But I just found it interesting that both stories of how everything came to be match so well in the same order. Just one, the story is told a little differently. Oh, Berta, I'm full of weird information. I am a wealth of useless information. I was actually called that one time, and I'm awesome to have around when you're playing trivia. Yeah, it is actually time for me to go. At like 11 minutes ago, I kind of got carried away here. So I will be taking off as well. It's been a good time. Sorry, I didn't get the notification out earlier that I was going live because I just forgot that it was Sunday and didn't realize what time it was. So I had to last minute throw this together. Oh yeah, Berta, I remember everything I read. I watch documentaries constantly, and I just got all these stupid little facts in my head that just float around all day until I need them. Yeah, it's weird. I'm a nerd. I really, oh, I'm a huge nerd. Oh, it is useless information, though, Berta. What am I going to do with half of it except play trivia with it? Good night, Diamond Queen. Good night, y'all. Hope you have a great week, and we will see y'all next Sunday night. So until then, rock on, y'all, and roll tide. We're going to win it all this year.